Yeah, my name is Big Dogg. You know, Kenny Franklin. We're at Mark Carmel Park. The community that's considered the Menlos.
I'm in for Craze, Menlo Crip. We at Mark Carmel Park.
What's the name of the park?
Mark Carmel.
Mount Carmel.
Mount Carmel.
Mount
yeah.
Carmel. Yeah. Okay.
I was born and raised in this area.
Yeah.
So I don't even know how old I was when I was coming. But it wasn't a park when I was a little kid. It was a school. It was
Stay right here.
yeah, no, it was Mark Carmel school.
Was that elementary school?
No, it was a Catholic school.
Oh, private school.
Yeah, it was a private school. And after they left, they turned it into a park. But I was coming here before it was a park because I was like a water boy for the football team.
So the school had a football team?
Yeah.
Okay.
It had a football team here. Yeah, it had a pool in this place and all that. Yeah.
Now, was this was during the late 1960s?
No, like in, yeah, 60s, 70s. You know, as I grew up, it was a school here.
Okay, so when did they demolish the school and start building this park?
Well, I can't really remember that, but it was years ago. It probably had to be around 79, something like that.
Okay.
Something probably around the 70s because it was a park in the 80s.
Okay.
So, you probably have to look that up, but.
So during that time, this is the beginnings of Menlo, right? This is like Menlo Boys.
Yeah, well, we were little kids. This was all Hoover. This was the Hoover community. But we were in their community, and we were kids that occupied this area that didn't want to be part of the gang banging culture. We had grew up playing football and stuff like that, and they was already grown people that was gang members, so we were little boys at that time.
So the Hoovers had the biggest influence on this community, more so than the Brims?
For sure.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when I was coming up, I seen the transition, but yeah, the Hoovers, yeah, they had all the people. They were the ones. You can't deny that.
Okay, so when you was young, 7'4" Hoovers just that way. Tony Stacy was in this area. Did you ever run into him as a kid, Tony Stacy?
I don't know.
Okay.
I probably seen him, but and he probably seen me, but I don't know. But whoever, all of them, the ones I know and all that. Yeah, this everything.
Who was the bigger influence? Was it the 7'4" Hoovers or the 5'9" Hoovers?
Well, the 7'4" Hoovers, they were the older group. That down there was the older group. That was the headquarters that we know of, and you would have to get their history.
Yeah.
But coming from our point of view, the headquarters was that away, toward the 7'4s, 8 trays, and as I know, on that line right there, like the 7'4s, 8 trays, the 9 deuce, 9-4s, and all that, they were kind of the headquarters. That was down that way. Now, it was a different politic because you had the 5 deuce Hoovers that, nobody ran the 5 deuce Hoovers. 5 deuce Hoovers ran their own, and the 107 on the other end kind of ran their own too. So, that's just my assessment from being around them and all that. But they might have a different take on it. But, just from our assessment, that's how it was.
Okay. So who were the which Hoovers would you say were more influential in the park and in the Menlo community?
Oh, the 7'4s.
Okay.
They the older group over here. So they was the influence on the Menlos and the 5'9". Because they were the older group. So, they was the ones that, they was the ones.
Okay. Now, when we get to younger generations, including yours, there is no interaction with the Hoovers. What did the beef with the Hoovers start when you were still around, or does it start with a generation far after you?
No, it started with our generation.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
And what years was that about?
Okay, well, I mean, I had a little motorcycle accident, so all my years and stuff don't line up all correctly. So, but the story will be the same. I'll say we was kicking it, being friends all the way 83. We were still friends, with the Hoovers because we had a group of guys that went to jail together in 83. And they was Hoovers and Menlos. They was friends and, they was doing stuff and they went to jail together. It was Mud, Capone, and Junebug from 7-4. They all went to jail together. So they were still friends then. We'll say around 84, it really got out of hand. But it was just, I'll say about 84 it really got out of hand.
Were there any efforts to try to make sure that this divide doesn't happen, since you guys had such a close history in the 70s, or was it was just on and nobody cared?
I can't say that. It wasn't like everybody. It wasn't like everybody was against everybody. It was just it ended up being individuals, and then they had to go with the politics that separated, because everybody wasn't fighting everybody at that time. And it was just it ended up being like that after a while. Of continually. Everybody had to just stay on their side after a while. Even though I'm friends with you, and me and you still friends, but our areas was fighting, so we had to kind of separate and stay on our side.
Now, how close? Tell me a little bit about the 6-7s in your era. When did they come out, and how did you guys get close?
The 6-7s was before. 6-7 was before Menlo. We was hustlers. I'm part of 6-7. I was a young boy over there hustling on 6-7. It was before Menlo.
Okay.
We
Now,
were kids.
Was there a little bit of Tray Gangster influence in that neighborhood when you was young?
But over there, they was part of them guys as Trays. They were part of the 6-7 hustlers. You know what I mean? They had a lot of Trays that were 6-7 hustlers. They had a lot of Bloods that were 6-7 hustlers. You know what I mean? And we all met up there. We was all over there. The Trays and all of us used to be together until the gang banging came, and then the separation of that came. Everybody had to kind of join. And
did you ever run across a guy from Tray over there named Opie back in the late 70s, early 80s?
Yeah, I knew him.
What kind of guy was he? What was his influence?
He was a gangbanger. I mean, Opie was a guy over there. Yeah.
Yeah, because we lost him early.
Yeah.
I think 80, 84, 85 or something.
Yeah. But I know him real well.
No, I always hear his name come up.
Yeah. He was a guy over there.
Now, here's someone told me that if Opie never got killed, the 6-7s would have never turned Crip.
Well, I mean, I can't say that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we was all over there. I was over there with him too. I can't say.
Yeah.
I can't say. But I mean, it was just we was all there together. So I can't say.
Now, were the Menlos ever hustlers, or it was just Menlo Boys? Was there a Menlo hustler era ever?
No, it wasn't no hustler era.
Okay.
I mean, we was hustlers, but we never, Menlos never gave ourselves a name. We never named ourselves. The Hoovers actually named our area. We wasn't gang members. So they gave our area a name, to depict the guys in that area.
And do you recall what Hoovers actually did that? Like,
Well, we know it's the 7-4s.
Yeah.
I mean, because they was the bosses around here.
is there any particular person that stands out?
No. We don't know. We
Yeah.
just know that it comes from there. Maybe somebody from 7-4 could probably say who named it, but we wouldn't know.
Now, you guys were heavily into sports and football, right?
Yeah.
What were some other teams around here that you guys used to play against?
But as far as
Football.
Football.
we played all the neighborhood people from every neighborhood. Wherever you was from, we play you in football.
Like, where would these games take place at?
Right here on this field right here.
So you guys always had the home court advantage, right?
Yeah.
So they would come here.
Yeah, we'll play here, but we'll go to different parks and stuff and play them too. Yeah.
Now, what were some of the other football groups?
The East Coasters, the 9-0s, the 6-0s, the Hoovers, the Bloods. We played everybody. Guys in Inglewood, everywhere.
Oh, okay. Now, so you said the 6-7s were already out before the Menlos. What kind of influence did the 6-7s have on the Menlo Boys back then?
They didn't have none.
Okay.
They didn't have none. They didn't have none. They was just what they were. They was just guys trying to get some money.
I heard that was a very money-making block,
Oh, yeah,
67th Street.
Yeah, back in the days when we was over there, they said that street was making almost $2 million a year when we was younger. So it was a news thing about it. So you probably could look that up.
Yeah. So, but when you walk down that street today, it just looks like a regular old street now.
Oh man, it was. Man, you go down that street, man. It was guys everywhere, cars in the streets, and everybody was just running up to the cars, and they was buying marijuana at that time.
Okay. Let me see here. Now I want to ask about the naming from Menlo Boy to Menlo Crip. Take me back to that as much as you remember. There's a decision that somebody made.
Yeah, I was right there. It was a time where the guys was like, what we gonna be? Whether we gonna be Bloods or Crips, and we had to make a decision whether we was gonna be Bloods or Crips, and they voted to be Crips. Me, telling the truth, I got outvoted.
Oh, you was down with the Brims?
I wanted to be a Blood.
Who were your Brim influences back then?
The Six Deuces. Them was my partners. Them was the guys that I grew up with and I kicked it with. Them was my friends.
Did you know the Ghettos?
Yeah, lived right off of 64th, right by the library, off of 64th in Vermont. Yeah, I was a little boy. I used to be around them. But them was my friends, and at that time, it made more sense to me. And when they was making the decision, the Bloods didn't fight against each other, and the Crips used to fight against each other. And I'm like, why you want to be Crips and they fight against each other? But the guys over here want to be Crips, so I just said, whatever y'all want to be, I'm just with you.
So
And that's the truth.
You got outvoted.
Yeah.
He didn't tell me that.
No, but I mean, that's what happened.
Yeah.
When it actually, the decision was actually made. That was the discussion when the decision actually was made.
Were you the only one that was leaning more Brim, or did you have a couple other that agreed?
It was a few more that agreed, but we was there together, and we actually had a vote, and they it was only 3 of us wanted to be Bloods, but and everybody else wanted to be Crips, but the Crips was our friends and we used to kick it with them, but then they turned against us. Like, we didn't understand. I didn't understand that, but when they made the decision, they voted to be Crips, and I went with it.
Now, were there other Brim sets that don't exist today that was part of all of this?
Yeah, they was
like untouchable Brims? Or?
No, they had a lot of Brims around here. That this area has switched and swapped as a coming up a kid, you know, I mean on Bonzello and, you know, they had Brims over there and all on the blocks, all around here was blood. You know, it used to kind of intertwine. You know, they wasn't going to war like that. You know, you was a blood, you was a blood. Hey, bro, you know, they knew each other.
Yeah, it wasn't like immediate conflict,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, that's a different era. All right, so Craze.
Yeah.
Around what year did this community start having an influence or impact on you?
I would say in about 94, I was a young dude. I hadn't even started first grade yet, and I used to be in my apartment on 66, and I would see these guys with Pendletons and Jerry curls, and I mean, this ain't probably the thing to look up to, but in the 90s, you know, it was more rough and tougher. I'm looking at things like Boys in the Hood and Menace to Society, and then I see these guys in real life with 40 ounces and Pendletons and Jerry curls and beach cruisers. You know, it's the culture. So I seen them, and I'm like, damn, what they doing over there? I'm nosy looking out the window, and that's what kind of like, damn, I live over here. This is, you know what I'm saying?
I think one of the things, like when you was posted up as a young man on the block, you don't realize young kids are
looking
influenced at you,
Yeah.
and they're amazed at you, and they look up to you, and you don't realize that you're just out there hanging out. You don't know there's 100 kids that are admiring me right now.
Exactly.
Right? When you look at that now in retrospect, you know, what is that? What goes through your mind?
Well, and it's a great thing, you know. And I want to give shout out to Intervention. You know, Intervention that came into our area. I got to give a shout out. You know, they sent us to school. You know, and we was in them classes, and we was in classes with other gang members, and we was in them classes, and the things that we learned, if you accept it, you know what I mean, you open yourself up to it and you accept it, you will start seeing yourself and seeing how foolish it is for some of this stuff to happen. You know what I mean? And I done said it before, you know, we only feel it when it hit us personally. You know what I mean? But now, you know, a person, I got empathy now. So now, I'm feeling for you. You understand? So it's like, I don't want nothing to happen to you that I don't want to happen to me. So now I'm at a point where I want them to understand that, you know what I mean, you could be killing somebody or your own friends because you can go out there and do something and it might not come back on you, but it kill your partner over here or one of your other friends. And you know, that's the message that we really need to get out. And everybody's not gonna understand it at the same time. But you know, it's about planting that seed, you know, and letting that seed grow. And hopefully what I'm doing right now is planting a seed. You know what I mean? Everybody might not understand what I'm talking about right now. But if you hear it, and that seed might be in you and it might be laying dormant, but somebody else might come by and water it and it'll grow, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
So your early influences were the OGs. You was looking out your window and you seen all the, you looking at first generation Menlos, huh?
For sure. For sure.
And who was raising you? What was your family situation like at the time?
So my mom raised me. I grew up right here on 66 in Menlo, and my little brother's father is from the hood, so you know he's in and out of youth authority, and I'm watching him, you know, as a young tiny loc over here going to the youth authority, coming back, buff, swole, tattoos, just you know what I'm saying, just seeing him program, it's like damn, and that's really where most of my influence came from him.
So he lived
in my house. Yeah.
Different parent though, huh?
Different dads. That's my little brother's dad. But you know, he raised me. So, you know, he's been there all my life. I've been there with him, and you know what I'm saying? So he was my father figure. you know, from the dope selling in the early 90s and him coming up with money and new cars and seeing him low ride. So, you know.
So basically your mom hooked up with a gangster.
For sure. My mama's a gangster.
Okay. Talk about your mom. Give us a little background on your mom.
So my mom and the rest of my uncles and my family come from the east side, the Fine Nine East Coast Crips. That's where they all come from. So, you know, I probably would have been from over there if that little thing with the 5'9", with the 5'9s and the Florences didn't happen. So, but you know, I've been living here all my life, so this is where my home is too. But that's my family, but this is my home. So it would have been a tough choice to make, but you know, I'm from Menlo, so you know.
So your mom must have been able to realize early on that you, her son, was gravitating towards the streets.
After a while, yeah. After a while of just, you know, growing up in the conditions I grew up in, not that I didn't have nothing. My mama took good care of me, but just being a part of the streets, probably just being around people I wasn't supposed to, you know, doing things I wasn't supposed to. And, you know, if she didn't buy me something, I would go steal it, going to camp back and forth, you know. So that's just where that started at.
Now, did you know his mom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I know his mom. I mean, you know, he couldn't help but be part of it. I mean, he grew up right where everybody hung. You know, I mean, he had a house and then there was an apartment, and their driveway shared the driveway with the apartment.
It's the same property.
I mean, you have 30, 40 guys in this place. In his window, his window was right in the back, and there was a lot of things happening. And he could just look out his back window to
and
the
see
things that was happening in this little area right here. You know, so he didn't have to go nowhere to even learn nothing about where he's from.
And I'm growing up with all of their kids. So it's just no getting away from it. All of their kids is my friends. We go to 68 Elementary. We leave there, we go to John Muir, you know, so it's that's just what it was.
So you had a closer relationship with your little brother's father than your own biological father.
For sure.
Talk about that. How come your biological dad's out the picture?
So my biological father is from East Coast as well. He's from 69th Street. He died in like 92. So my mom met my little brother's father, and they were together for years. He was born in, I think, 95, July 95. So and he moved in with us, and that's where like my main influence came from him, for sure.
And is he still around?
For sure. He might hit one of these corners any minute now, for sure. Yeah.
Okay. And how's your mom doing today?
Oh, my mom is cool. Still doing hair, chilling.
Yeah.
More like to herself. She never been like when she had my little brother, she stopped hanging out. So she ain't been out in about 25 years.
So she had a stage where she was attracted to gangsters, because your dad is from East Coast. Your little brother's dad is from...
her high school boyfriends is from East Coast. Her adult boyfriends from me, like, you feel me? See, just all gangbanging.
Now, did your mom ever date any Menlos that were of her age?
My brother's daddy, he's from Menlo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He's Menlo.
He's
right.
Menlo,
He's
yeah.
Menlo.
I'm one of my original names from the hood. I just don't push it as much. It's Infant Mud. He Baby Mud.
Okay.
So yeah.
So your mom just happened to meet Baby Mud because she moved into the neighborhood, huh?
Maybe the first day.
Okay.
You know that you see a young black girl moving in somebody's complex. Hey, fast, come here.
He scooped that up.
Immediately.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. That's interesting because
Yeah.
it's kind of like family ties. You're really rooted.
I'm
in
rooted.
This community.
Yeah, I'm rooted. I used to go and see him in the youth authority on the little Greyhound bus with my mama. He'll get out, be home, go back to youth authority. So, you know, yeah.
Okay. And what was your relationship like with Baby Mud?
I raised him.
Oh, wow.
For sure.
I raised him.
Yeah.
Him and his brother.
See, this is really interesting because we're really talking about family. We're talking about gangs, but we're talking about family as well. Like,
Yeah.
this is really intertwined with blood family.
Yeah.
And then he got family, the Baby Mud, his cousins.
7-4 Hoover, everybody.
And then I found out Bub to do the podcast, Up Under the Groove, is kidding the Baby Mud's cousin is Bub's wife. Drew and all them. and it's kin to him. And I was telling him, man, like, we got to get this together, bro.
Now-
you know what I mean? But he's understanding.
Yeah, I get
you know what I mean? It was a little incident that he did a little something, and I ain't gonna talk about it, but he's understanding.
You talking about the video that dropped last week?
The vlog. He talking about the
Yeah,
vlog.
Okay, yeah,
yeah.
we're gonna talk about that in a minute. But
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I mean, but like I was saying, and he came behind me because I did it, and the cold part about it was, I went to them and say, man, look, and everybody was in agreement, him, and then whatever ticked him off,
yeah,
you know what I mean, he did what he did, but in reality, I mean, the dude that I did the blog with is kin to him.
that's crazy, huh?
I mean, so we the sevenfolds, we kin to these people.
For
The
real.
5-9, we kin to these people. We are kin to the Hoovers, for real, and without a doubt. And it's just like some kind of country kinfolk war. you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But them is our family, man. You know what I mean? And we trying to lower the damage in our communities and make it right, man. You know what I mean? So, that's what I'm here for, man.
Now let me ask you, did Baby Mud, your stepdad, and your mom stay together, or how did their relationship go?
The typical ghetto relationship. Had a baby, on and off, in and out. He was a young dude dealing with women, and they eventually broke up, and he didn't stay far because he was around one of these corners, 66, right down the block. So we liable to pull out the driveway and he'd be passing by. So it was just one of them type of things.
Now let me ask you this question. Your biological dad is murdered. Your stepdad is in and out. Eventually.
But I'm seeing him every day.
Okay.
Because he's over here in the community.
Yeah.
Like for school, my mama would give me $2. That's not enough. I would go down to his spot and get $10 because he gonna break me off with a 10 piece.
Okay.
And then I'll walk down to John Muir.
Well, that's good to know. He always looked out.
Yeah, he for sure, always.
Now it's a trip that you're talking about the kinship between Sevenfold and Menlo's from people that are your age, but I'm almost certain there are people your age on the other side of Florence that are kin to people your age.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And
because they kids is grown up now.
Yeah.
So they brothers that's from 7-4,
Yeah.
they kids is grown up, and them from over here, their kids is grown up, and their family.
And that's another thing. We and see what's gonna always make it like that is because we have brothers and cousins that split up, and some chose they chose the path of no, we ain't gonna be with the gang, but they end up being in the gang because not trying to be in the gang end up being a gang, but the ones that chose to not be in the gang end up being over here. The ones that say we with it went over there. So, and then when it broke up, now you got families that's broken up. You got family over here that's staying down with that, and it actually became bigger than family.
now, are there some family names that are known on both sides?
Oh yeah, you know the
Bowmans.
The Bowmans, huh?
Man,
so
they
there's
is-
some Menlo Bowmans and there's some Hoover
Oh,
Bowmans.
for
yeah,
sure,
yeah,
for sure.
I mean, with that last name.
With that last name, that's like the biggest family.
Yeah, that's the one.
Where are there any 6-7 Bowmans?
No.
No? Okay. All right, so we got to talk about the vlog. A lot of people reacted to it.
Yeah.
Most of the people had negative things to say.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of that style of shooting.
Yeah.
Where you call out the whole hood, because what tends to happen is you got all the homies in the back dissing, and it creates a different sort of tone of an interview as opposed to what we're doing here. We're having a conversation.
Yeah, conversation.
If you would have brought 20 other people out here, it would have threw off this amazing conversation we're having, right?
Yeah.
What's your whole view of how that video went down?
Well, I can't even really explain it, right? It was a vlog. We know what each other do on these vlogs. You gang bang, you represent, and you know, shit come out, you know. It's shit that's done on an everyday basis. I got so many videos on my page. Motherfucker might hit me up or make a post, cause you know I follow a lot of the dudes, Trays and Hoovers. They diss all day long on there,
on social media,
all
right?
day long.
Yeah.
So as soon as I get on that vlog and do it, like the world changed. It was just like a change in weather. It's crazy.
Okay, I see what you're saying. You're
Yeah.
saying that this is going on anyways.
Yeah, this been going on for 40 years. Like you don't let us. You know, it ain't like we don't. You know, get along.
But what about the allegation that you were recently in some peace conversations, some peace talks prior to this vlog, and now you're on the vlog dissing? You said Snoover. You dissed a couple of hoods in the vlog, so that's a different dynamic.
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah, you.
Well, I can elaborate on that. So what happened was I contacted one dude from over there that had a little influence on the guys on some peaceful talk. But then I'm also in communication with a lot of dudes that's not with the peace, you know. So I contacted him. I said, if you got any issue, you know what I'm saying, you need to tap in, just hit me. You know, this wasn't my idea. This came from another older homie of mine that was, you know, in the loop with them guys over there. He said, hey man, look man, let's woo. I'm like, all right, I ain't tripping. I don't want to see nobody in jail for no murder or even attempt. So I got at him and he was like, oh, all right, for sure. The vlog came out and, you know, it just came on my mouth, you know, and that's what it was. I did reach out to him because I was for peace, because not meaning like we gonna go have a volleyball tournament or no shit like that, but I just don't want nobody coming over here and we not gonna go bother nobody over there, whether it's fighting or even spray paint on the wall, you know. But during those peace talks, you know, these guys kept coming over here and, you know, poking the bear and, you know, rolling up and down the street. So I just got probably a little bit agitated by thinking about those things. It was just too many incidents within that peace talk. We ain't even came up with a plan yet, and you guys are, you know, playing around.
Yeah, and you said you don't want to see anyone go to jail. I also want to touch on, you spent most of your adult life
and juvenile
in prison.
Life. Yeah, you know, I've been to camp about 4 times.
Yeah.
And then, you know, county jail time and just 4 prison terms.
How do you feel that you've had a majority of your freedom taken from you during your adult life and a big chunk of your juvenile life?
It's kind of fucked up. You become institutionalized in a sense, you know. I hate to sleep. I'll fall asleep somewhere and get mad because I feel like I'm wasting time because I spent so much time in prison. So it is fucked up, you know. You just lose touch of yourself as far as like, I don't like being around a lot of people. I'm always like looking around. I can't hit no clubs because it's just PTSD. I don't know what's going on. This shit feel like a chow hall with a gang of Mexicans in it and black. So it's just like, you know, I'm just not comfortable in a lot of things.
Now, you mentioned in the video that you pointed out to an apartment building that was headquarters for Menlo for a long time.
Yeah.
But currently, there are no black people living in it anymore.
Not one.
When you were young, I'm gonna come back to you, but when you were young, how many Mexicans? What was the Mexican presence like here in this community in the late '70s, early '80s?
Okay, no, it was. I mean, you know, I was here when it was. I mean, it was only 2 guys. It was a guy named Alfred that was Hispanic that lived on our block. You know, I mean, I was here then. Then, you know, I just watched it all grow up.
Were there still some white people living here when you were young?
Yeah.
The lady that used to live here, I forgot her name, but she used to live right on 65th. She used to do the voting poll, and she was a white lady, and she taught us how to vote. As little young kids, we used to go over there and vote, and every Wednesday she used to give us a candy bar, a sneaker, and it was a white lady lived on our block.
Now, were there any Mexican hoods around here when you were younger?
Yeah, and as I came up, you know, the F-13s, them was the ones, you know, and they was here. F-13's presence has always been around here.
Okay. What about 18th Streets a little bit down in the 50s.
I
They're
didn't know.
across Florence, the Hoover Locos.
Yeah, the Hoover locals are that way, but
Yeah.
they got the 5-1 and 5-4 18s.
But yeah,
Yeah.
no, they. I mean, when I was coming up,
I didn't really hear about it.
no, it was the
It was
F-13.
F-13. Yeah.
I didn't know nothing about
Okay.
it.
Now tell me about the way the Mexican gangs. There's at least 3 or 4 that have popped up over the
Yeah.
last 15, 20 years.
Yeah, kind of. When I grew up, I noticed the street villains was over here, but I think it was more of a family, maybe some brothers and some nephews. And I know the Florences and the street villains used to get into it just, twice a year or some shit like that. But it's never been no stronghold Southerner gang in my community, not that I know of. I just never seen it in my generation.
What block were the street villains claiming?
They were actually on my street on 66, and I think the Florences were on
They had 66.
66 too. That was the
yeah.
thing. So
Yeah.
I'm like, damn. They would shoot one of the bullets hitting my house one day from the corner.
Right
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
But yeah, and we occupied this area.
Yeah, we never had a problem. We've been the dominant on it.
As a ghost. You know what I mean? We here and we just ghost each other. You understand? We know everybody, and mostly what happened was the kids that turned F-13 was kids here. We watched it all develop. They was kids. They turned F-13. We know you.
Were you
So it's
aware
ghosts.
of any black guys that were banging F-13s?
Yeah, my friend.
Yeah.
My friend. Yeah, he turned F-13 right around that corner over there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was a different era. I heard there was quite a few black F-13s in them years.
Yeah.
I got a cousin from Florence. He's like 50-something though. But he's from 6'4" over there I was telling you, my family from 5'9" East Coast. He's from over there.
Okay. Now, other than the street villains and the F-13s, was there another Mexican set over on 65th trying to start?
Bonzello boys. They kind of.
No, they was Bonzello. They was Hispanics and
Yeah.
blacks.
Yeah, but they was Southerners though. But it was blacks and.
But them was our people.
Yeah, those was our
Bonzello.
boys. Yeah. But they kind of like fizzed out a little bit, and then
What years were they out?
I would say the early '90s. The early '90s for sure.
So what about today, like in this immediate area from the park going down to 65th, any Latino gang presence?
Well,
But
the F-13s are over here, but this is not their stronghold.
Yeah, they
this
don't-
is
they don't-
it's just it's a few of them.
Well,
But they're gonna hit up everywhere.
They live in these houses.
Yeah, they
But
live on-
it's not no problem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like a ghost. You don't even. It's no tension, no
Yeah.
feeling. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
It's nothing.
So what's the status of the peace talks with the Hoovers now?
Oh yeah, now I've been on that.
Yeah.
But what happened was, we still good. We still good. And when we talked, we knew it was gonna be some hiccups. I mean, we know that it wasn't gonna be all roses and all that. And it's been going good. Nobody haven't been, violating each other's area and stuff. And it's things that we do have to get together. We have to, kind of slow down on some of this writing on the walls because everybody, they still gang banging, but right now they kind of doing it in their own area and still dissing in their own area.
Yeah.
And I'm good with that because it's de-escalating the violence. But now we need to de-escalate a little bit more and get some of these triggers out of the way, and that's them being on the internet, taunting each other. You understand, and kind of get the writing off the wall. And if we could kind of slow those two things down and keep everybody in their area right now, you understand. Then later on, once we're not hurting each other, then a little later on.
Well, it's not the writing on the wall, it's the internet.
Yeah,
the,
but-
the internet is what's gonna do it because
Yeah.
one person put I'm okay and whack out his O, another young dude from let's say maybe rolling 60s will cross that out, it'll just trigger. It's just like a domino effect with this shit because it's so sensitive. And the shit can spark just like that. The rolling 90s might see some Hoovers at the Food for Less, see him in there and want to jump him, and then here they come back with this, and then it's just gonna keep going.
But see now, little simple stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, some things we gonna have to accept. You know what I mean? We gonna have to agree to disagree. You understand? And I mean, we gonna have to get to that point because it's some things that, I mean, is in our culture right now, it's gonna take time for those things to dissipate.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So that's gonna happen. That's gonna be there. But we gotta work on it. You understand? And just like me and Bub was talking about, you know what I mean? When these things happen, we have to go in our area and try to get our guys that's in our area.
You gotta get
and
there
try to-
fast.
And try to reel them back. You understand what I'm saying? You know, and you know, this is this is my area, and it ain't that I could beat this dude up. You know what I mean? The big old young dude. But it's just the respect that he have for me when I go to talk to him. You know what I mean? He's somewhat kind of willing it in. Now when I leave, I don't know what he gonna do. But my job and our job and the older Hoover job is to do what I'm doing. Let's go try to get him and wheel him back in. You understand? And that's the best we could do. We don't own nobody. We can't make no decisions for nobody. People is making decisions like they want.
Now, does that Bowman family have any role to play here since they got people on both sides?
Well, they do. See, all they have to do is just say what they say. You understand? A lot of them is not the kind of person that'd be up front like me and stuff. You know what I mean? But you know, they do have a lot of power because our words mean something. You know what I mean? He could just sit there and say, no, I ain't with it, and that, and now he got a following on our side. He got a following that I would have trouble dealing with trying to get them together. So, yeah, he got something to say. I would say everybody have something to say.
Okay. Okay, now I want to get back to a couple of things that you said on the blog, Craze.
Yeah.
A lot of people are still trying to figure out what was the point of emphasizing rolling 70s. It's 6'5" and 6'7", Menlo neighborhood. We're obviously on 70th right now.
It's the park.
This is the park. But where did that whole thing come about where you were pushing this thing that most people were unaware of?
But that was before
That was before we were even born. They was
before they was even, and a lot of people don't know, and it's another thing, I kind of heard something, but let me just say this. Before they was even pushing that like this, if we had little homies that used to live right there on Vermont and 70th right there, and they was pushing 70s. You understand? It just didn't get big, or nobody really knew about that because Menlo 6'5" just overshadowed everything.
exactly, and that everybody is so like pressed about it. You know,
Yeah,
the Hoovers get mad because like, hold on, we hold down the 70s. How y'all in the 70s? Who y'all think y'all is? And I get it, I understand it. If the tables was turned around, I'd probably be on their same trip.
Yeah.
But you know, all these little dudes that was just up here, they all got put on 70th. You know, the 5 is the 5. That's where we from. But they from 70th. And you know, that's just what it is.
And
People think it's a new gang. It's not a new gang. It's just a street that they representing. They never heard of it. That's it.
And I want to say this, you know, and from 6'5", they want to be identified, you know, because like I say,
They want their own identity.
they want their own identity. You know what I mean? They being overshadowed. When you say 6'5", you might think of me or some of those Sane or somebody, you know, like that, you know that's, you know, been around. So they was looking for their own identity to, you know, to say this is who they are.
Now this park, back in, let's say, late 70s, 78, 79, this was a Hoover park, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Do you think that the Hoovers have a little bit of resentment that they lost this section?
But it ain't.
Should I mean I would like, but you know.
I mean that you know we family, and I ain't gonna say that. I mean, you know, it ended up being what it was. You understand? I mean, you know, we stayed fighting over here. You know what I mean? And it wasn't gonna be nobody's part. I mean, it just at a point it just wasn't gonna be nobody's part. It was kids. We was kids that didn't even think we was gonna live to be 20 years old. You understand? So when you got people that's thinking like that, I mean, you got everybody looking to hurt you. The Hoovers was the biggest people. I would not lie to you. It was, and I ain't gonna lie, it was a really scary thing. I mean, you got these bastards and they was coming. And they really was the ones. Yeah. And I ain't gonna sit here and lie or say they was, no, they was really the ones.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? But, you know, when Menlo was pushed to the point where we didn't think we was gonna live. So we just went all out. You understand? We wasn't kids that think we was gonna live to 25, 30 years old, had these big old families and stuff like that. No. That was not in the plan. That was not even in my life plan.
That's why I say, man, we out of all of this stuff these dudes done did, man, these dudes done spent 20, 30 years in the neighborhood, in the prison for the hood, and they done been there. We've been standing tall. These guys been tough. And that shit kind of like, we inherited that toughness that they got, but we never really got our, you know what I'm saying, our flowers. You know what I'm saying? We a little gang, but it's a couple hundred Menlos. We a little gang, but you know what I'm saying, we compare to big things because we beef with big people like the Tray Gangsters. We beef with the Brims and we beef with the Hoovers. So it's a weird space that we in. We like, damn, they not big, and they just kind of like, you know, but.
And then I wouldn't even say that. You know, I would say Menlo is just as big as any squad. See, because everybody's working on multiple squads. Not big as 7-4. I mean, 7-4, they had hundreds, probably about 500 in one game. But I'm talking about any one of those other squads that was connected, you understand? And then I heard that we went up under the neighborhood. No, the neighborhoods came to find us. And I'm here to say it, and everybody know they came to find us. You know, we was over here fighting our own battle, and that friendship with them just became so natural. You understand?
Organic.
I mean, yeah, it just, you know, I mean, the Hoovers had us. We would have been Hoover Crips if they were smart enough to keep us. We used to hang with them, we used to fight with them and everything. But then they want to take something from us, and it just ended up being a battle.
Yeah. Now let's talk about the name changes over the years, from Menlo Boys to Menlo Crip to Menlo Gangster Crip, back to Menlo Crip. Now the neighborhood is attached to Menlo Crip in more recent years. Let's start from the Menlo Boy. We already talked Menlo Boy to Menlo Crip. Yeah. We didn't talk about Menlo Crip to Menlo Gangster Crip.
Okay, yeah, now.
So name the year that we stayed from Menlo Crip, and then when we went to Menlo Gangster.
So like in '78 when we decided to be Crips. You know what I mean? You know, I mean, naturally we ain't no gangsters. We was Menlos, and then we just put the Crip on it. So we was Menlo Crips then. So years later, like when it started getting popular, I'll say it wasn't in '81, cause I'll say '82, cause when I was in I graduated in '81. We was not Menlo gangsters. It was when I got out of school. It could have happened in the summer of '81 or something like that. But when I was in school, we was not Menlo gangsters.
So either the end of '81 or the beginning of '82.
Yes, that's when the Menlo gangster came, and then the gangster came from one of our homies, Lorenzo, and he had a cousin from Tray. There go our family ties again, right? His cousin from Tray, and I can't remember his name, but he's one of the big guys from over there in Tray. So I guess he went over there with his cousin. After he came back from with his cousin, I remember this just like it was yesterday. He came back from his cousin, and he said, "Hey man, let's be Menlo Gangster Crips." Hey, you know, it sounded better than just Menlo Crips. It had a ring to it.
It sounded good.
Now, was Lorenzo from a younger generation under you?
Yeah, evil. He's from my generation.
Okay. What kind of process do you have to go through to add for Lorenzo to add the gangster? How easy was that for him to do, or how difficult? Like, what was the process?
Just write it on the wall.
And no, and just and that too. But he just come and you know, at the time we all together. So
Really looking
he
for
said,
a
"Man,
stronger
look,"
identity.
and and that's it.
So all you guys were in your late teens at this point, right? What, 18, 19? Right out of high school?
Yeah, right out of high school. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then now it's officially Menlo Gangster Crip, and that stays that way all the way to the early 90s, huh?
Yeah.
So about 94,
95 or something
95,
like that.
but everybody was just assuming we were gangster Crips. You got in jail from the hood that went down as Menlo Gangster Crip that caught a case maybe 86, 87. We're still gangsters at the time. So they're in jail banging gangster Crips, and in 94, we like, man, nah, we not feeling that. We beefing with the A-Trays already. We beefing with different gangsters, so it's just, we didn't give a press conference and say, hey, look, everybody, LA, we not no gangster Crips no more, so stop calling us that.
Okay, so you said you beefing with the A-Trays. When Lorenzo came, obviously the A-Trays and the Menlos were cool in 82, right?
They family.
It was
Okay.
like family.
We don't know nothing about none of this. Yeah, but yeah, we still cool. Yeah, we were still we still cool.
There wasn't no beef in 82 with the A-Trays, was it?
No.
I mean, the A-Trays, it never been an all-out war with the A-Trays from these dudes over here. It's just been knick-knacking.
We started fucking with the 60s, and then that's kind of where the,
Yeah.
okay, y'all gonna inherit this. You fucking with them, you know what I'm saying? But we ain't never on no get-along gang type shit, okay? If you want to call it choosing sides or call it sympathizers, so be it. But we ain't never fell up under no nigga like no, you know what I'm saying? No. We always had our own push. We always been aggressive and strong and fought our own battles. We didn't, you know what I'm saying?
So let's just make this clear. Even though you guys was Menlo Gangster Crips for many, many years, you was never under the gangster car.
Not
now,
one
let
day.
me ask you this. Someone who went to prison, as you said, let's say in 86, 87, 88, 89,
he was
Menlo
messing with the
Gangster Crip,
neighborhoods.
what car would they hang out with?
With the neighborhoods.
With the neighborhoods.
Okay.
Because even though we was gangster Crips, we always still was with the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Even in prison?
Yes.
In prison, on the streets,
Okay.
we was, I mean, the 6-0s and the 40s and all, they didn't have nothing against our name. We was who we were. We were the people. You understand? So them, you know.
Gangster Crip changed when Moving came out. That's what really separated, like, oh, them gangster moving. We not on that. We ain't never been friends. Or that it's some close family relationships, but that's where that ends at. We ain't never kicked it, no barbecues, attended no hood days, or none of that.
Now you're saying this around 94, 95, the Gangster Crip for Menlo stopped.
Yeah.
Now,
Stop.
I have to double check this. I think I got some photos that are more recent where it was still MGC on the wall.
Older
look,
gentleman
look,
probably.
Look, and that's the thing. Over here you had some people that don't want to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is what I got put on, so this is how
Exactly.
this is what I'm gonna keep
Yeah.
on. So you know, we ain't fighting with them, but we just tell them it's not cool because for the simple fact that became a car.
Yeah.
You know, in the years we didn't know nothing about it. Like we say, we wasn't gangbangers, so everything that we first did, we didn't know. We wasn't part of politics. But now, as years go on and the politics come, and then that's a car. Well, you know, we're not in that car, and guys shouldn't even pretend they're in that car. And you know, I mean, well, nobody around pretend they're in that car because the world knows that Menlo's is not no gangster car.
Now I'm assuming that the 6-7s, which would have been neighborhoods before y'all
No.
had some sort of influence
No.
over y'all?
No. We took them to be neighborhoods. Look. In '92, the riots. Us and the 6-7s went together to Jesse Owens Park. Now, they want to know if the neighborhood, if we was gonna be with them, if we gonna be rolling, if we gonna be with it. Okay, so our side, I'm like, man, we finna be neighborhoods. Capel Hall, I already
Big
told
insane.
him, this big saying. I told him, me and him having this discussion. I say, look, man, they want to know if we gonna join their neighborhood car. He said, no, we just gonna be with the rolling. I said, rolling is the neighborhood car, but that's fine. So us in the 6-7s had to play the 90s, 60s, and the 100s, and whoever they had on their team.
Back in 92.
In 92.
Okay. We
had to play them in a football game. So we went up there, played them in a football game. Obviously, we won. then after that, we had to play them another football game. We had to play them another football game at Southwest. Then us and the 6-7s went to play them up there at Southwest, the second football game. And at the second football game, they split up the teams. Now, the teams were split up.
The 6-7s and the Menlos couldn't be on the same team together.
No,
right?
None of us. We was all, the whole field got split up. So some of us is over there and some of us over here, and we playing with 90s and every 60s and, 60s and 90s over there, and then we all just play football. And from that, now we in. Menlo's left out rolling Crip. 6-7s left out neighborhood Crip because they was able to. We played the football game.
Was there ever an idea, even though there is rolling 60s over there, more west, to do a sort of a rolling 60s between the 67s and the 6-5 Menlos? Did that ever come up? That idea? No. Okay.
Menlo's always had their own identity. Menlo's is not up under nobody's constitution.
Umbrella, yeah, we not.
We even though we with the neighborhoods. It's but this side we got our own. We run our own. We run our own thing over here.
Okay, so that meeting was very instrumental in the future path that Menlo was going to take at Jesse Owens Park.
But it was already there though. Before Jesse Owens Park, like in '85, we was over here and we was kicking it with the Sixers.
Okay. Now, before we got 1 hour in almost, we talked about the beef with the Hoovers. It sounds like there's some good future potential talks.
Yes.
What's the deal with the Avalons? I know that the Menlos and the Avalons been going at it for over about 10 years now, or 2015, 9 years. 9 years now.
Yeah.
Has there been any move towards any talks with the Avalons?
Negative.
Negative.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, but and then on that situation, let me just add it. Nobody haven't really been going at it. It's just bad blood.
Yeah.
It's just bad blood. You know what I mean? Everybody know where we stand. We ain't friends, but we ain't been going at it.
Most of the bad blood happened in like the early part of it. Lately, there hasn't been nothing going on, but it's still something that lingers.
Yeah. But nobody ain't. And just like all this, we that's what we wanted. We want all this to just linger until we can have time to work on it and make it more solid.
Okay. Now, Craze, I want you to just give me some final thoughts on that video you did, because I think you're being misunderstood to a certain degree.
Yeah.
And I want to give you an opportunity to pretty much clear any confusion that people may have had on what you did in that video.
Yeah. Well, that on the video, man, it basically, to me, and not even being an asshole, it is what it is. We all do it. We all have done it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna sit here and apologize or no shit like that. But
I'm gonna say it wasn't the smartest thing.
It maybe wasn't a smart move for a guy of my stature over here.
Because,
and because I'm not a kid. I don't be dissing and all that.
And your words could get somebody killed.
Yeah, my words can lead to some type of quarrel between tribes.
Yeah.
So I'm really happy for my homies to get that exposure that they need, because we got some real talent over here. But it seemed like all the exposure go to the bigger gangs, and we never really got that shining light. We did everything they did probably times 5, but we still ain't got like our big break. So we needed that for the culture, man.
I mean, big break.
Big break meaning like that exposure for my.
When they did the little thing on YouTube talking about the y'all, I don't know. I ain't gonna even say it. I ain't
Are there
gonna
any
even-
rappers from Menlo that's
Yeah,
trying to do it?
Jay Bus a rapper, the guy that was just standing right here. You know what I'm saying?
The one
Like,
that has the cousin in from Duarte?
yeah, him.
Okay.
That's Jay Bus. He the one. He really was like baby Jesus. He saved the hood, man, and I give him that, man. He started rapping. I was in prison. I'm like, man, all the homies in jail, and he saved the day, man. That's my guy. That's little bro.
Okay. And real quick, tell me about the cap. What team is that?
Oh, this is Brewers. This the
That's the Milwaukee Brewers.
Yeah, this the Milwaukee Brewer. Yeah.
Has that always been the hat for over here?
You know, any will do. Michigan,
Michigan,
Milwaukee. You know, yeah.
The Main Street hat that
Yeah,
they wear to Michigan.
Yeah,
right?
they wear the Michigan. I got the Michigan tatted right
Oh,
here.
okay.
You know, we the same. You know, we the same gang, same M. You know what I'm saying? So you know.
The 99 Mafias wear the Michigan, right?
Yeah, that's the 99 Mafias. They wear it too, but you know, we more so fuck with the main streets if anything. But I don't know what hat they wear. I'm assuming it'll be the M hat.
And the Main Streets are heavily
Yeah.
in conflict with the
Yeah, for
especially
sure.
The A-Trays and
Yeah,
7 phones.
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So it's a lot of work that that needs to be done, but it sounds like that people are willing to come to the table and at least start the dialogue, right?
Yeah, some hoods people just can't control. It's like no structure, and you know what I'm saying, over here, we like a small country, like I said before, it's a dictatorship. If we say, hey, don't go over there, don't do this, it's gonna be over with. You know what I'm saying? On both sides. You know, people can be like, oh, you telling these dudes what to do. I don't tell nobody nothing. I only give you advice on positive shit to keep you out of jail. I don't want to see you in jail, you know? So my thing is, man, nobody bother us. We don't bother nobody.
Now, lastly, you've been out of prison for how long now?
Since December last year.
And I was gonna say this is what's the longest amount of time
Right now?
you've been out right now?
Right
huh?
now.
Okay.
And that's because I finally caught on.
Yeah.
I'm not committing no crime. I'm not going back to jail. That's out. They done gave a nigga these tablets and want you to call your people and get videos of girls. I'm cool.
Okay.
I don't.
Let me get some final words from OG Dogg. We had a great conversation on the history and on potential squashing beefs. Mr. Franklin, you seem to be on the right path towards bringing things together. Give us some final words of wisdom and whatever else you want to let the people know.
Well, I just hope this whole community, and when I say the community, I'm talking about the Hoovers, the Bloods, the East Coasters, and all of us to kind of stand down and, you know, all the guys that could represent those areas come together and let's talk and let's try to make this a better community. You know what I mean, for our kids, because our kids is in here and, you know, from all sides, you know, like I said, you know, I've grown to have empathy. So now, with that being said, if something happened to your kid, I'ma feel it too. You know, I just don't want nothing to happen to nobody no more. Let's stop it. You know what I mean? Because, you know, like they said, it's a big industry. You know, the jail is making money off of this. People dying. Let's just put a halt to it and let's live and make money.
Does it feel like we're in a different period in terms of the streets in LA? Are we moving towards just a whole kind of a new era?
Yeah, I feel it. I am not lying. I could tell you, I could feel it from when I was coming up. I could feel that people is changing. I could feel people want better. And I feel it. And you know, I want to live to see it.
Everywhere I go, man, I just feel like, man, it's crazy out here.
Well, one of the things you brought up, and I think it is the main problem, because
social media.
Social media, you beat me to it. And I was going to preface it by saying I work with a lot of defense attorneys on trials, and half of the discovery are Instagram, Facebook, DMs, because they subpoena everything. They subpoena the comments you thought you deleted to try to build a case against somebody that did something to somebody, and then they DM their homie and said this and that. And social media is the biggest issue that we got to deal with.
because that's how you get to see your enemy. We ain't gonna go over there and talk to you on your main block where you at. So I'm gonna hit up Hoover Tray 81 and be like, hey man, fuck you, I'm over here. Come, you know what I'm saying? So it's just weird with this social media shit.
See, now that's how they. See, now that's the different area.
Yeah, for sure.
We had to go see you.
Yeah.
We couldn't sit in our kitchen or in our bedroom and cause a whole big street war, cause I got 20,000 people watching me, so I could say something in my bedroom and start a whole street war. You understand? So that's the difference.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, back then the war we had it because we met you one-on-one and said what we said, and you did what you did. But this is the new era we have to work with.
And I wanna let you know, this man has a lot of children, and most of them are from the hood. And it's one of his oldest sons, Low Boy, is my road dog. Been there with him all my life, and just want to give a shout out to my boy Low Boy, man.
How many kids you have?
I have 22 kids.
By how many women?
8.
8 women? Okay, so that's you averaging 3 kids per woman almost. Almost 3. Damn.
22.
How many grandchildren do you got?
34.
30 and great grandchildren?
I don't have any great yet.
You sure?
Yeah.
You should have a couple. No? Okay.
No great.
They're coming.
Yeah, they're in the age where they could probably have some.
Yeah. All right, man. I wanna thank you both for allowing me to be in the presence of such a iconic location for the Menlo community. I would like to come back in a maybe 2 or 3 months and get an update on you guys and see how everything's going.
For sure.
All right, and we'll call it a wrap right there.
All right.
Thank you.